Hello everybody. Hello ladies and gentle ladies. It's been a long time, so I think I've got everything working. Chat does not seem to be working though, as usual. Which is a pain. Always love when chat doesn't work. See if I can find out why real quick. And if I can't get it working, then I'm not going to worry about it too much. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working. So I don't think we're going to worry about that. I will just try one thing real quick. See, maybe this works. I don't think so. Because the bot hasn't joined the YouTube chat again. So it probably works for Twitch. Let me check actually, I can do that. Yes, it works for Twitch. Lovely. But it doesn't work for YouTube, as usual. It might start working at some random point in the stream. But I can still see it. I could do what I did before and just use my chat as a thing source. I'm not going to do that. That's too much effort. And that is me. My camera is working too, so that's all good. Yeah, so we're going to be doing Industria again today. Let's get rid of this. I wanted to run the game so I could show you what I've done, but it crashed. So I was a little unprepared, it seems. And that's because I have some nulls here, which I forgot to change. So I'm just going to do that real quick, and then I can show you what we've got. So, you know what I can do actually? You can just do an empty thing, can't you? Can you do a text? Yes. Yeah. That's perfect, because these are going to be image buttons in the future anyway. And I'll show you what we've got so far, because I believe, but I don't actually remember what I last showed you. So we'll see. Did I have the oil pump jack last time? I'm going to have a look real quick while this is loading. I don't think I did. Let's see. So at the end of the last stream... Oh, I added crude oil. Does that mean I added the pump jack? I don't remember doing that. No, we were doing the wind turbine. We were doing the wind turbine. So no, you actually haven't seen this yet. Unless you're on the Discord, in which case you probably have. Well, okay, I've actually done a lot since the last stream then. I will also get this over. Yeah, so you don't have to see two Minecrafts, because that would be a bit weird. We have a lot to go through then, because I've done a lot since the last stream. So, okay. What to go through? Okay, well, I've shown you all of the... I think we've done these. So really what to show you is the seismic scanner, the pump jack, and the drill, and then the drill head as well. So let's actually go to a different world. Because we ideally need one that has some oil in it. Which, actually, I guess I didn't show you that either last time, so we'll have to do that first. So first of all, we have the seismic scanner here, which effectively is going to just be used to scan for fluid pockets. And it's not perfect, so you can see it kind of shoots some waves out. They just go the way you're facing. They don't actually, do anything. Oh, Botrix is here, so chat should now work on YouTube. That's great. Only took 9 minutes. Lovely. So yes, this will be used to scan for fluid pockets. I guess I don't have one selected right now, so we're going to try and find one. Should happen quite quickly. Yep, so here it is. So if I shift right click, you can see that we get a kind of scanner thing. I should really remove the chat message and replace it with something better. But it kind of shows a hologram. God damn it. Okay. It kind of shows a hologram of the fluid that's below. It's not perfect. But I'm quite happy with it, and it does work at least somewhat in third person too. And it's hard to see. If I can see, it does work. You can see like the transparency is a little bit buggy. So obviously, yeah, that's a work in progress. I actually don't know how that. And then basically you'll be able to open it in the GUI as well. And this, as you can see, doesn't quite work because this is a bit more of a pain. But you'll be able to kind of compare them in a GUI as well, is the idea. And you'll be able to compare like the size of the pocket that you found, and also the like density or purity. I'm actually not sure what I'm going to go for. One of those things. Maybe just I'll say like concentration. Something like that. Anyways. And then once you've found one, we now go to the other world. This one. Then you can place down a... Well, actually, you would place down the drill first. But I did that second, so I'll actually... Oh, no, I'll show you the drill first. Okay, you place down the drill above it like this. And then if we put a drill head in there, so we only have the simple drill head at the moment. If I put this in here, and then I actually don't know if this works. I haven't tested it yet. Which button is which? This first button should be the one. So if I press this button, okay, it doesn't work. I actually didn't. Oh no, of course it doesn't, because I'm not actually handling the packet. But if I shift right click this, it will start to drill down. It's actually a lot faster right now than it should be. And you see here, it actually hit a fluid, so it's going to come back up. But obviously the idea is you would have a different drill head that can like suck up the fluid or whatever. And you see it will return up to here. Obviously I can send it back down again, but that's not going to do anything because it will just hit the fluid and come back up again. Well, the reason is because mining manually won't kind of get you what you need. So, okay, so a simple drill like this, I agree, is kind of useless because it's not actually doing anything. It's just mining. But the idea is there'll be different drill heads that can do different things. So there's going to be a drill head, for example, which we're probably going to do in this stream. Yeah, we'll probably do that in this stream, actually. That as it comes back up, it will place the blocks that it needs to place. And then, yeah, and then once you've done that, you can place the pump jack. So the placement of this is actually a little bit wonky. I think no, it places opposite. I did that wrong. If I placed it like there. Okay, that's not quite right. You need to have this thing here basically go above the hole. And then you'll be able to place a valve kind of on top of this, because this will be a solid block, not a hole. And then basically you'll be able to suck up oil from the pocket that will be down there. As long as you also have a gas line, because otherwise the whole thing will just explode, is the idea, because pressure. So that's the idea. The drill currently does not give you the blocks. No. I'm not sure whether I should make it give you the blocks, to be honest. Maybe? I don't really know how that should work. It does. Like, should it just have an inventory? I guess it could have an inventory. It could have like a 3x3 like here. You can see where I'm putting my... Yes, you can. So I guess there could be like a 3x3 here that it could store the items. But you won't be able to just like send the drill down. So my idea is you'll also have to supply it with a motor or a hand crank. And then you can either crank the drill down, which obviously why would you ever do that? Or you could use just a motor and then obviously you power it. So that's the idea, which I think is something we're also going to try and do today. And then, yeah, this will just pump it up. The animation is a little bit janky. I kind of need to redo it completely. The problem is, basically, this here isn't meant to do that. It's meant to slide like along there. It's very hard to explain whilst it's moving wrong. But this part here should slide along like horizontally along the counterweight. And it currently doesn't do that. So I'm going to kind of need to redo the whole entire thing to make that work. But I can't be bothered to do the math. So at least for the foreseeable future, that is not going to happen. So anyways, the plan for this stream, first of all, we're going to get these buttons working, which should be trivial. That should take minutes. And then I think we are going to add another drill head that will actually... Which one do we want to do first? Do we want to have one that sucks up water, like fluids? Or do we want to do the one that actually is useful and places the blocks? Or shall we do the inventory? Let's do the inventory first, but we're going to do the buttons before that. So we'll do the buttons, then we'll do the inventory, then we'll do the different drill heads. So that's the plan. So yeah, let's do that. This should be easy. So I've already sent the packets here. So all I need to do is in my main class, I need to add some packets receivers. So server plane networking register global receiver. We'll do the change drilling payload ID. Pass these in. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. That's fine. And basically this, that needs to be that, and this needs to be just context.player. Yeah, so that gets the screen handler, then it gets the block entity, and it sets the drilling to the drilling. That should actually be it. And for the other one, it's effectively the exact same. So this one needs to retract. I don't have a method to change that though. So I'm just going to call this retract drill. Like that. And all this needs to do is hello, don't do that. It needs to do that. So drilling is false, so it stops drilling. It says retracting is true, and then it just updates it. Simple. That's actually all that needs to do. And that should work. What I will do real quick is just change the Y position of the buttons because they're not great. And also maybe make them smaller. Should they be smaller? I don't know, actually. Let's see what it looks like if they're 16 by 16. No, 16 by 16 is too. Okay, 20 by 20 then, fine. Hello, Agent Cryo. Welcome to the stream. Let's just move it down then. So we'll do maybe 14. Sure. Let's make this one 44 then. I think the spacing was fine. I think it's just the actual position that's not. So we'll do like, you know what, we could do that. I think that's reasonable. So that's 16 and 48. They're kind of round numbers. That's fine. And obviously these should kind of have an image in them. So button widget is not ideal. We'll need to use, what's it called? Image button? No? Button. Bro, what's the image button called? Oh, do you not do it like that? No? I haven't done buttons in a long time. Go to implementations. Here we go. Textured button widget? Probably this. Yes. Today we are going to be working on the drill. Primarily the drill. We might also do the pump jack, maybe, but I highly doubt we're going to get that far today. So probably not. We're just going to be working on the drill, I think. Hello, Mickey. Welcome to the stream. I just realized I forgot to announce in Discord, didn't I? I completely forgot. I was going to do it, and then somehow I've completely forgotten. So that's great. Who do I ping normally? Oh, I ping stream notifications. Okay. So stream notification. And we'll say YouTube. And I am live on Twitch, even though no one watches on Twitch, and I don't blame you, because why would you? But I can't be bothered to remove it from my multi-streaming thing, so we're leaving it there for the time being. Hello. Did I already say hello to you, Mickey? I think I did. I completely forgot. Hello, anyways. Welcome to the stream. So yes, let's do this then. Shall we do the texture? No, because that means I have to do art, and I can't do art. So we're not going to do the texture for now. Instead, we should probably test if this works, but I am lazy, so we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to add the inventory slots. So that should be trivial. Close that and that. And let's go to the block entity. And luckily, it should be quite easy to actually add an inventory. We already have an inventory, actually. So even better. What we're going to do then is we're going to... Now, the thing is, I can't add the inventory like this. So kind of the problem with my add inventory method is this will add it to the null side. So if I just add another one, it will actually overwrite this one, which isn't the smartest idea in the world. Am I doing the UI? No, we're actually going to be doing the functionality. It does already function. Let's see if I do this and then this. It does actually function. And that will probably come back up because there's probably water down here. Yeah, there is. So it's reached all back up. But we want to add one that actually drains the fluids down there. And then we also want to add one that can actually place blocks as it comes back up. So we're going to be doing probably both of those today. But first, we're going to add an inventory so that, you know, the blocks it actually mines go into the inventory, which I hope should be trivial. So what I'm going to have to do here is I'm actually going to have to add this inventory here to a specific side. Now, since this is for the drill head, I think it makes the most sense to... Well, it doesn't really matter because this is a multi-block, as you can see. And currently I don't have support for, like, saying, like, for example, this block will input output power. I can't do that at the moment. So it doesn't really matter what I set the side to. At some point I do actually need to get that sorted. But for now, I'm just going to add this one in the up, and I'm going to add the output. So add a new, don't I have an output? Yes, I do. An output inventory storage. I'm going to pass in this. We're going to give it a size, so it's going to be 3 by 3, so that's 9. Somehow I just added 2 commas. I don't know how I did that. And then we're going to add this on the downside, like that. That will be fine. Okay. So, now that we've done that, I'm going to come into here. Now, what I do need to do is this. So this code here is actually what the drill does. So what I do need to do is I need to kind of extract this into some kind of abstract system. Because what I have for the client is I have this code here, which registers the actual drill head. So it says, for this drill head item, it creates a client data. This supplies the model, either from an entity model loader or from a block entity render factory. And then it runs this render method to render it, which is what actually handles the kind of rotation stuff. And then it uses this for the texture. But I kind of want to do the same thing on the server, which should be trivial, I think. So what I'm going to do, where shall I do that? Let's do it. Let's create a new package, actually. Call it registry. Which, debatable. I probably should have it in init, because it's kind of the same thing. But this is going to be for custom registry. It's also kind of not the same thing. And it's also not really a registry. I probably shouldn't call it a registry. It's just going to be a map of item to some object. So let's call this drill. What do I call that? Drill logic registry, maybe? I'll actually keep some consistency with the client, and I'll call it a drill head logic. And then I'm going to create a map of, what did I do for the client? I think drill headable, which I know is a really weird name for an interface. I didn't really know what to call it, to be honest. Yeah, I need to come up with a better name for this, because I hate it. I could just call it drill head, but that's kind of not an interface if it was drill head. So I could call it drill head, but I hate the I convention, so I don't really want to do that. I need to come up with a better name. Maybe I'll ask Copilot. We'll sort that out later anyways. Not important. And we are not going to be doing that. So let's say, no, you cannot do that. Oh, I didn't mean to time them out. I meant to. Anyways, I meant to actually ban them. But okay, it's fine. So, oh, I can still do that. Oh, there you go. There we go. Okay, so we're going to have a map of drill headable to some logic thing. I once again don't really know what to call this. Probably just a record of something, or even actually all it needs to be is like an interface, I guess. Yeah, like just that, I guess. At least for now. It's possible in the future I decide to want more than that. But for now, all I want is just custom logic for it. And I'll make this a functional interface. I know you don't need to do that. What? Oh, because it doesn't. Right, it doesn't. Yeah. So we're gonna do this on. Let's just do it on drill tick. We're gonna pass in the drill block entity, and well, that's it really. That's all it needs, isn't it? Okay, what we could do. Okay, I'm actually not gonna make this a functional interface. And I'm not gonna make this an interface even. Well, I could, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna make it a record. Okay, bear with me here. And then I'm going to make a consumer of a block entity, a drill block entity, and I'll just call this drill tick. And then I'll create another consumer of a block entity, which will be the retract tick, since we are going to want it to be able to actually do something when it's retracting. So I think that's the best way to do that. Let's just create our method to register that, and then also a method to get it. And then that should be good, I think. Where am I printing this thing, by the way? Because I want to remove. There you go. Perfect. And the problem with this is that I don't have access to this drill Y offset, and that's private, and I don't really want to make it public. So what I could do... How do I want to do this? I don't really want to make it public, and I also don't really want a setter method. I know it doesn't really matter, but I kind of only want it to be accessible in here. So what I could do, and I know that this is going to be hated by some people, is I could do this. So I could create a drill tick function as a void tick, which takes in a drill block entity. Actually, no, my idea is really bad now that I think about it. I was gonna say that I would have an atomic reference, which I know that this is not what you're meant to use atomic references. Or it's actually an atomic long, isn't it? Was it a long? No, what was it? It's a float. Idiot. Atomic float does not exist? Really? Atomic double? Double exists. That's even worse, because that means I'd have to convert it to a double. Welcome back, Ilya. Now, how do I want to do this, though? Well, I could just pass it in as a parameter, right? But I could do that. I think I'm being an idiot, though, because if I do this, you can't change it, right? This is the problem with trying to kind of do so many languages at the same time, because sometimes you can do this kind of, sometimes if I do, okay, I'm going to come down to the bottom. I'm going to go drill head logic. I'm going to register that for item init dot simple drill, like that. And then we're going to create a new drill head logic, and I'm going to pass in this drill tick function like this. And what I want to know is if I say drill y offset is equal something, that doesn't work, right? You can't do that, I'm pretty sure. What's wrong with this? Oh, it's because it wants the second. I'll just do that real quick. I'm pretty sure you can't do that, right? Yeah. Right. But it would work, obviously, if it was an object. But what I don't really want to do is, because this is going to be running in tick, I don't just want to create, like, effectively an atomic reference. Because I would have to create that every tick unless I had this actual field. Which I could, but the problem is it would have to be like an atomic reference. It couldn't be an atomic double, because then I'd have to do double to float. And if it's an atomic reference, then it would also have to be boxed and unboxed a bunch of times. This is not ideal. Oh, you know what? You know what? I'm just going to do the thing I didn't want to do. I'm just going to create that. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. There we go. I am actually going to leave this as its own thing, though. And I'm going to do the same thing for this, which I know is kind of redundant. But in the future, I might want to pass more things into that. So it's just a future kind of thing. If I need it, then it's there. I don't have to deal with it. That, and then I can name this the same thing, right? Good. Good. I can do that. And that basically means that what I can do, if I really want to, is I could actually go ahead and pass in the item. Which is going to be a bit weird. Like, I could do this. If I did... So if I did implement drill head... Oh. Not. I'm already in. So if I implement... No, not that. The registry. This. So if I did this, and then I did drill retract function, and then I implemented tick. Oh, are they both called tick? They're both called tick. They're not both tick. So if I do this, so drill tick and retract tick, drill tick, and retract tick. It's kind of jank though. Like passing in the item twice is really weird. I don't know how I feel about this. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I should just do this. Get rid of the functional interface. Just take in this. And then the drill tick, this is retract tick. And then get rid of this. Put that there. I'm going to call this tick logic. And then in here, I can just pass in this, which is also really weird. I'm not a fan of that. How can I make it not that though? Is there a way that I can make this a single parameter? The only way I can make this a single parameter is if possibly I made this generic. So if I did this and I said t extend drill headable and drill tick function, right? And then I said t, which is the drill headable, which I really need to get a better name for that because saying that is just really weird. I could do that. And then that means that in here, I could just do this. I don't hate it. But I'm also not a huge fan of it. Because that means I can do that. But I could also, if I wanted to, still do it the way I had before. So I could still say like this, and then I could do like this, right? If I wanted to. But I don't hate that. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Realistically, I'm only ever going to be using this. No one else is going to use this. Even though, hypothetically, this could be an API. Like, realistically, it's only ever going to be used by me. And I think it's reasonable enough. Because you have to implement your headable anyways to create the client data. In fact, I honestly could just... You know what I could do? I could just do that. And then completely remove this. Well, yeah, remove that. And then remove that. And then remove that. And then make this a list, I guess? Or a set? Or, in fact, I don't even need that, right? In fact, I can completely remove that because if this already has these, and I'm actually going to put these above this, and before anyone says, I know it, I have render data in a common thing, it's not actually anything rendering, it doesn't actually do anything. Okay, to be clear, so no one get mad at me, please. It's just an interface and it needs to be common because it needs to extend item convertible. No. Wait, why does it need to be common? Oh, it needs to be common because this is created in the block entity. Yes. Yes. Technically, I could send a packet here to the client instead of doing this. But I'm not going to do that because I'm lazy and I also think it's more inefficient to do it that way. I'm going to do it this way. And I also know that no one cares and I'm just rambling. But yes, we're going to keep it like this because this is fine. And that also means here, because I now don't have those, I can just do that. Which I think this is reasonable. So basically what I will do is, where am I? I'm lost. Block entity. Drill. Yes, yes. And then here. If is drilling. So I grab this. And then I take that. And effectively, I put this in here. And the only thing I need to do is I need to basically replace this with block entity. And that should work. Some of these are going to need to be getters, so it might be worth saying world, and also pos, like that. And that means I can do that, and that, and that. And that can be get drill y offset. This can be block entity dot set drill y offset to block entity dot get drill y offset negative that. Why doesn't it like that? It doesn't like that because there's a semicolon here. Why is there a semicolon here? Is there meant to be a semicolon there? I don't think so. Oh, this is meant to be like that. There you go. And then we're going to say block entity. Oh. Block entity dot set drilling false. And that actually updates the retracting for me. So I can get rid of that. And then I can say, does that actually update as well? It does. Lovely. And then I can also do the same here. So hopefully IntelliJ knows. Yeah, man. I'm sure IntelliJ used to have a thing where if you try to access a field when there's a setter, it would replace it with the setter. I guess not. Oh well. Drill y offset to block entity dot get drill y offset negative that. Like that. That doesn't update, right? That shouldn't update. And exact same thing here as well. This check is temporary, by the way, so no one moan at that. No one moan at me for that, please. This can once again just be set drilling. Oh, block entity set drilling to false. I'm actually going to remove this update method, I think. Multi-block type, so that calls set drilling there. Okay, I'm going to remove this. Then in here, I'm going to say drill dot update. This is temporary, actually. As a matter of fact, I don't need that anymore. Yeah, that's redundant because we now have the button in the screen. Don't need that. Where was the other place? It was in here? Oh, of course. So handler.getBlockEntity like that. Lovely. So we can close that. We can close. Yeah, we can close this. Okay, this needs to say block entity. Yes, see, you can replace with a getter. I guess you can't replace with a setter. That's a shame. Set drill y offset to block entity dot get drill y offset plus that. I kind of want to. Guess I can't really do that, huh? You know what? No, I can. In fact, what if this method returns a float? And that float will be the offset to the drill Y. That way I don't have to. I could even pass in the drill Y as a float. So I could say float current, something like this, current drill Y offset. And then what it will do is it will return a float. That will be the new drill Y. Or should it be an offset to the current drill offset? I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll just return the new one. Sure. Sure. Okay. So I can say float new drill Y offset is equal to that. And then basically what I can do is say drill Y offset negative equal. Like that. And then here I can just return that because that's where it ends. So that's fine. Although this needs to update. Or, you know what? It kind of does need to update. But, and this is a very big but, if the drill Y offset has changed, then it should probably update in the super. So, okay, I'm going to rename this method then. I'm going to call this update drill Y. Update drill. You know, that's fine. That's fine. That's not a problem. I really should update here. Question. Does anyone know if I call update, right? If I call block entity.update, which does this, by the way, it calls update listeners. If I call this twice, right? Hypothetically, if I called this twice in the same tick, does that do anything? Like, will that actually do 2 updates? Or will it just schedule an update to do once in the next tick? I actually don't know. I know that mark dirty will set a boolean to true or false, and then it'll do that in the next tick. So that only happens once. I don't know if this will do 2 block updates, or if it's just a singular block update. Do I dare try go into the implementations? This is going to scare me. Well, it looks like it marks it for an... What does this actually do? Yeah, so it makes it pending. So actually, what that means is that calling update multiple times a tick is fine. The only kind of expense, I guess, of doing that is it calls get cache state twice, but that's just accessing a variable anyways, so the compiler will optimize. So that's fine. Yeah, so really the only kind of cost of doing that is that it does have to do this logic here, which it does run a voxel shape check, which, at least from what I remember, are quite expensive. Yes, as you can see, it does a lot of shit. I think it's fine, though. I think it's fine. It's fine. It's gotta be fine. It's fine. I'm not gonna worry about it. So I'm just gonna update there, then. I mean, I don't have to. I could say if current drill y is not equal, or no, if it is equal to new drill y, then I'm gonna update, because in the super I'm gonna check if it's not equal and then I'll update. So I could do that, to be fair, if I really cared about. Should I do that? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if it matters. Am I overthinking this? I think I'm overthinking this, and it doesn't really matter. This is micro optimization. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. It doesn't matter. We're fine. We're all good. I'm just going to leave it like this. And to be honest, the compiler will probably optimize it anyway. Bro? Okay. This is why I didn't want to stream on Twitch. I didn't want to multi-stream on Twitch, because you just get people advertising, where you don't get that on YouTube at all. Okay, I've banned them. Honestly, I might just... What happens if I do this? Are we still live on YouTube? I have stopped the stream on Twitch. Are we still live on YouTube? That is the big question. Are we? Wait, I'm refreshing my page. We are. We're still live on YouTube. Okay, so Twitch is gone. So I'm also going to update that in... And I think from now on, we're not going to stream on Twitch anymore. How delayed is YouTube? It should be not delayed at all, actually. I have my stream settings set to ultra low latency. So if you're delayed, then it's going to be your internet, not mine. So you can just refresh the page and usually it catches up. Or you can sometimes press the skip ahead button. And that usually works too. But yeah, it will be on your end, not mine, because mine is yeah, mine's on ultra low latency and it's not lagging behind. Possible it's quite far delayed for you if you are doing that. Let's do negative equals here. And let's do this. If block entity is not retracting. And world.break block. Then we're going to say that. And then what we're going to do at the end is we're just going to return that. Okay, and obviously the super's going to moan at me. Yes, of course. Is there a limit to the texture size when creating Minecraft mods? Yes, there is. And no, I do not know what it is. But there is a limit. I think... I actually don't know. Is it 64,000? I think? There is a limit. You probably won't hit it though, to be honest. Not unless you're creating some insane, like, fucking like, crazy texture. Then maybe you'll hit it. Maybe it's not 60,000. Maybe it's like 4,000. I don't think it is. I think it is quite high. You can actually see when the game loads. It does tell you, I think. Or it creates the atlases here. But maybe the max is 1024? Because that's the size of the atlas? It might be. I actually don't know, honestly. But I would say, honestly, if you're worrying about the text, just the kind of max texture size, like what are you doing? Like, maybe don't do that. Because yeah, that's not kind of great. I think everyone prefers normal sized textures, not you know, like 8K textures, whatever. Okay, I'm just gonna do this for the retract logic, and this is actually going to be the same. So I'm going to say float current draw y offset, and that's going to return a float 2. And I'm just going to say, you know what? I actually don't even need this, do I? Like, I don't need this. I can just set this, I believe. And I can then rename this even to just drill y offset. And I can do that because I'm not actually, that's not actually going to change it by setting it. it's just going to return it. So that's fine, actually. So if I just do this, and this, and this, and block entity set retracting. Can I do that? Can I not do that? Apparently not. I need to do that. So set retracting to false. And I will create that, apparently, because I don't have it. There we go. And retract drill. So the problem is my set drilling method. Yeah, so I guess what I actually need to do see, what this should do here is it sets retracting to false, but drilling should also be false. So really what I want here is I actually just want, like, pause drill? Pause drilling? Which effectively what that would do is that would just set drilling to false and retracting to false. And honestly, this retract drill method here, this should just set drilling to false. But you know what the problem is here? Oh no, that's fine, because this just shows the opposite of that. So this sets that, and then this would be the opposite of that. So retract drill actually should just do set drilling false. So I can just remove that method completely. And this also needs to be false. So that this sets them both to false, like that. And I can yeet that completely. And then set drilling. So that will break. What does that break? That breaks the packet. This one. So all this needs to do is set drilling to false. I'm thinking, because if all this packet actually does is sets drilling to false, then this packet is completely useless. Because I can just use this. Which also makes me wonder if the button is even worth having. So what I'm talking about here is this button here. What this should do is this should make it start drilling or stop drilling. I think that has an unintended consequence though. Because if I press start drilling, it will start drilling, right? And then if I press stop drilling, that will also make it retract. That's actually not what I want. I want it to just stop. So what I'm gonna do set drilling, where is this called? Okay, it's only called there. So if I just do this and then do this, drilling and retracting. Okay, yeet that completely, right? And then and then in here So what should this do? This should set drilling to false. So set drilling to false. And then it should set retracting to false. So that just sets them both to false. This set drilling here should... Well, retracting is also false here, so that's fine. That's not an issue. Because this is when it's drilling. So retracting will be false here. So that's fine. But the intention was that here, I think, it will start retracting. No, not here. Is it here? Yes, here. Here it should do that, because this makes it go up. This will make it go back up. And then also here, it should do that. Because it hits a fluid, it goes back up. And then here, so first of all, this needs to return that. And then I'm going to go to the super method. Hello? Is there... Oh, because it's got a different signature. So that will now be the same like that. And what this will do is this will just be called update retracting. Sure. Can you make a tutorial on how to make trees and grow them in 1.21? I have done that. I have a tutorial on that. Where is it? Here it is. This one. Trees 1.21. And I also have the wood set one here as well. Which covers the sapling and obviously, you know, the wood set stuff. So that is trees. I've done it. I do want to come back to it though, because I haven't covered trunk places or foliage places. So at some point I will do those as well. They're not too hard, to be honest. It's kind of the same thing as everything else. You just register them like everything else. I will do world gen stuff, so like biomes, dimensions, world types, what else? Structures. What else? There was something else that I really kind of needed to do world gen related. What is it? So biomes, dimensions, world types, structures. There's something else. What am I not thinking of? I actually have no idea. What am I missing? Oh, yeah, of course. So just mob spawning as well, because that's kind of world gen related. Both mob spawning in structures and also mob spawning like biomes, dimensions. Oh. And hopefully I also want to do a tutorial on portals, but we'll see about that. That's kind of that's not easy, so I'm not sure about that. We'll see. I know there is a portal API which we can probably use for that, because yeah, that'll be easier. Right, so we've done all this. We've kind of converted it into an easier to use format. So now we can come into the block entity here, and all we need to do is grab the item. So if git drill head or drill stack, sure, is empty, then I'm going to return. Okay. Then we're going to get the drill headable like that, and all I'm going to do is say drill headable dot update drill this and this dot drill by offset. I'm actually going to grab the current offset here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the drill this dot drill by offset to be equal to the return value of that. Now, if the Y offset does not match the current offset, then we're just going to do an update like that. And effectively, retracting is going to be exactly the same. So we're going to say, once again, the current drill Y offset, and then we'll do that. And then if not that, then we update. And since this is exactly the same, I'm just going to do this. So I'm going to get rid of that. And all I'm going to do, get rid of that, get rid of that. Boom. Nice. If it's drilling, then it will do this. Else, if it's retracting, then it will just do this. If they're not the same, it's just going to cause a block update. Hypothetically, this could cause an issue if, and only if, I change something like this without changing the drill Y offset. But if I did that, then it would actually fix itself the next tick anyways. So it also doesn't really matter. I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it makes sense to check if every single field has changed. There's no need for that. And I also don't think it's worth making it update in here, because then it has to do it twice. Yeah, so I think it's fine. This is fine. Working on the drill. Yes, I am indeed. And now we're actually going to be making another drill, a different drill head as well. Hello, Resonance System. Welcome to the stream. Saw you from Corpin's Discord. Yes, I do indeed hang around in there from time to time. I'm kind of everywhere, really. The only place I don't hang around is the Neoforge Discord, and that's because I'm banned, so I can't. And also MMD, because I'm banned, so I can't hang around in there either. But yes, you'll probably see me most other places. Oh, and you also won't see me in the Quilt Discord because Quilt is dead, so we don't touch that. Yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere else on Discord anyways. Why are you banned? I'm not going to get into that. I have I talked about it on stream before? I don't think so. It's a long story. Yeah, it's a long story, and kind of in hindsight, I was in the wrong. I don't think what I did deserved a ban necessarily. I think what I did was in the wrong. And I think they kind of took it a bit further than it needed to be. But it's a long story. If you really want to know, join my Discord. It's linked in the description down below of every stream and every video. Come and hang out in there, and if you're lucky, maybe I'll let you know. Yeah, maybe I'll let you know. So now everyone's going to start joining because they wanna know the tea. But yeah, it's a long story. Basically, is what I was saying. And yeah. Now Now I've completely lost my train of thought. Thanks, guys. I'm joking. Right, yes, I was going to make another drill head. So let's do that, I guess. There isn't much to say about it. Let's create a new item, because obviously we need a new item. So let's go to the item in it. Let's create one. Oh, no. Why did no one stop me? Guys, come on now. You're not paying attention. We need to add the items to the inventory. That was the whole point of doing this. We need to add the items of the drops that it breaks to the inventory. So what we're going to say is when we break the block, let's first grab the drops. So let's say a list of item stack, which is going to be our drops, will be equal to a new... actually, can we just say... we can get the state, right? So state.get drop stacks, and we can pass in our builder. So builder... I know I did this in my in my tutorial, but I've also completely forgotten how you do it. So you just create a new builder? Oh, yes, you do, and that just you do it. So you do that, and then you pass in the world, which is a server world. And then we need to add the parameters. What ones do you add? I don't remember. Context parameters. Never seen a coding stream before. It's fun to see someone else's thought process. Well, I'm happy to be your first time watching your first coding stream that you're watching. That's interesting. To be honest, I don't really watch coding streams either. I have in the past, but quite rarely. I don't know why. I just haven't, I guess. Have you considered avoiding magic numbers? I am avoiding magic numbers. Oh, well, unless you mean like here I'm doing 0.01 and like 0.1. Yeah. I guess I probably shouldn't do that. But yeah, I guess this kind of is magic number. I didn't really think about that. Sure, but I guess this is kind of temporary though. So the reason this is temporary is because it's going to be powered by either a motor or a hand crank. So a hand crank, it's not going to go as fast as when you do it with a motor. For now, it doesn't use either. It just does it, right? So, this is kind of temporary. Anyways, so I'm not really too worried about it. But yes, I probably should make them a constant. Yeah, like this should probably be 0.1, not 0.01, actually. But anyways, yeah, as I say, I'm not too worried about it because it's somewhat temporary. Currently learning Java while I watch your stream. I don't know anything about Fabric, but still good to learn. Fabric is pretty good. I enjoy Fabric. And honestly, it's not too dissimilar from Forge. If you're, if you know Forge, it's really not that dissimilar. You'd actually be very surprised, I think, how similar it is. How can you play the game with your mod? And when you make a change, it reloads. So the first thing you need to make sure you're doing is running in debug mode, which is this button here. So we can stop the game because I've made enough changes. we won't be able to compile it. But you've got the run button here, which obviously runs normally, right? But you have the debug one here, and well, I can't click it right now because it won't compile. But you run that, and then when you make your change, you can come up to the build menu here and then build the project. Or if you go file thing and we go plugins and you search up single hot swap, this one right here, and you get this plugin, you can just single hot swap it. It does actually come up here next to the build button, and when you press that, that will hot swap the single class, so it won't like it won't break with like mix-ins or anything like that, which is good. I highly recommend anyone to do that. No matter how hard I try to learn Java or Fabric, I just can't. I mean, it takes time. I mean, I know someone who has been trying for quite a long time to do Java, and it does. It just takes time. You have to be dedicated to, like, you have to want to do it, and by that I mean like you need to want to really do it. If you don't, it's a struggle. It is a struggle. I mean, if you know C#, you shouldn't really have any problems with Java since they're effectively the same. C# is just Microsoft Java, so you shouldn't really have any problems. I guess the big thing is complexity, right? Like modding, this isn't just Java. I mean, it is Java, but it's not Java, you know? Like, you're dealing with so many APIs and libraries. It's tough. It is tough, I will admit. Like, we're dealing with not only Fabric, we're also dealing with Minecraft. We're also dealing with the fact that the game is decompiled, so things aren't going to be in a typical way that you actually program things because it's decompiled. It's not going to be the same as how it was written. We're also dealing with Fabric, which, you know, does different things to Forge and does different things to NeoForge. And you've also got to note that none of this has any documentation. Or at least it's very, very limited. The Fabric docs, honestly, this page right here, it's pretty good. At least what they've got so far is pretty good. There is also the old Fabric wiki, which I apologize for the blinding page here. 1 second, I can turn dark reader on. There you go. We can see again, we're not blinded. But this is pretty good too. It covers everything extensively. Hopefully at some point they do actually put stuff on. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. That could have been really bad. But yeah, I hope at some point they do kind of move everything to this. That would be great. But yeah, the docs are interesting. Forge kind of has docs. I wouldn't really recommend them. If you are still on Forge, which I highly doubt anyone here is on Forge, to be honest. But if you are, then I've honestly forgotten the name of the site. Oh. Then I would recommend the community wiki, this one, which is a much better wiki than the docs.minecraft Forge, because these aren't quite as good. The community wiki is much better for Forge. If you're on NeoForge, which I know some of you are going to be on NeoForge, since that is quite popular these days, then you have the Neoforge docs, which I haven't looked at, to be honest. They look okay, I guess. They kind of cover the basic stuff. But honestly, it's meh. They're all meh. I would say, personally, Fabric is the best. I don't think that's biased, since I've done them all. But I haven't done Neoforge, to be fair. But it's basically Forge, so... I am slightly biased. Well, no, I'm not biased. I don't think I'm biased. Maybe I am biased, but I don't think I am. I think Fabric does have the best docs. Personally, and that's why I do enjoy learning stuff with Fabric, because the docs are good enough that I can just read the docs, which is great. I could never do that in Forge. I had to figure things out on my own, which for the most part, to be fair, I do still do, but not all the time, because if the docs have it, then that's great. Constants would be good, however, I recommend managing the constants in a manager class. Maybe. I kind of disagree, actually. Like, by having a manager class, I mean. Like, I agree if they are kind of global constants, right? Like, if they're constants that you're going to access in multiple places, that should be... how do I say it? That should be constant, right? That sounds obvious, but I guess it's not necessarily obvious. Whereas like here, these, I don't know. I kind of get what you mean. And also, this is wrong, by the way. I've been staring at this the whole time, and I didn't notice that that was still using the old way of things. Which actually reminds me, whilst I'm thinking about this, I'm just going to actually remove that method, because I don't want that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the thing with constants is it has to be constant. A lot of the magic numbers I'm using here aren't really constant. Like, they're constants, as you can see, they're constant. Then there's not math happening here. But they're not like constant. And I wouldn't convert these to constants, because if it's constant, then you can't hot swap it, right? You can't change your constant and it hot swaps, because it's static. It's statically initialized. And since I'm still developing it, I would like to be able to change it on the fly. So I'm not going to make them constant, but for that reason alone, to be honest. I mean, I get what you mean, right? If it was constant, I could easily just say, like I don't know what I would even call it, to be honest. Coming out of names is very hard. Like something like drill move amount, right? Then sure, I could say drill move amount like that. And I'm pretty sure this should be drill move amount too. And here, I think. Or maybe they're different. I'm not sure. Like, sure, I could do that, but the problem is, right? Say I did that real quick. We'll just say, for the sake of it, we're gonna do this, right? Like, sure, I can do this, right? The problem is, let's say I get into the game and I find that 0.1 is too big, right? It's too big of like a step up. So it'll go like that when I want it to go maybe like that, right? I can't change it. I have to restart the game. Whereas Whereas if I do this, right, I can easily just say 0.01 hot swap, 0.5 hot swap, right? I mean, sure, you could create like, you need a whole manager class and stuff, sure. I kind of don't think that's a good idea though. Like I get what you mean. I get your point. And to an extent, I agree. Like, okay, let's do this for the sake of it, right? Let's do this. So we're going to have a class, and I'm going to call it a constant manager. Someone's going to say it's a bad name. I agree. And let's say, Jesus Christ, Copilot. No, we are not doing that. Stop it. Stop it, stop it. Okay. Let's say we do this, right? I don't really know how you would want to do this, actually. Sure. I don't know how you'd actually want to do this. There's multiple ways you could do this, I suppose. You could create a bunch of just static fields, right? Like, I could have a static float. But the problem is it can't be final. That's notable because otherwise it wouldn't be hot swap. So sure, you could do something like this, right? We'll say drill movement speed. And that shouldn't be like that because actually it's not a constant, right? So sure, I could do this and I could set that to 0.1, right? And sure, I could create a method. How do you want to do this? I don't know, like a public static float get drill movement speed, which just returns drill movement speed, right? And maybe you would create a method like public static void set drill movement speed, which I don't know, maybe this isn't what you meant, because this kind of doesn't really work. Because if you're doing this, then it's not a constant. Well, it kind of is a constant, I guess. But like, sure, you could do this. So you could set drill movement speed to be this, right? Or ideally, honestly, I wouldn't do it like this. If I was ever to do it, I would do it like this. I would have a map of string to like an object, yes, and I would say constant equal to a new hash map. This is probably what I would do. I pressed Alt Enter and it didn't import. Thank you, IntelliJ. I would do something like this. Object get constant. But you do run into another problem by doing this, though. Right? And that's that you have to cast if you did this. So, like, I would have to cast, say I wanted it as a float, right? So say, I don't know, you would probably do this in, like, static init. I would say, like, constants dot put, and I'm going to put, like, drill movement speed 0.1, right? The problem is, if I ever want to get that constant, right, I want to say float drill movement speed is equal get constant drill movement speed. Doing it as a string, I'm realizing now, is actually not a great idea anyways. But like, you can't do that because you'd have to cast that to a float, which gets very ugly very quickly. You could do something like this, So if I did this, right? Let me think about this. If I do this, get constant string name class key, like sure you could do this. I hate this, but you could do this, right? You could say return cars.cast get constant name, but then you're talking about basically insane performance killing because this is awful for performance. I don't know. I kind of think it's fine. Like this one specifically, it's the kind of thing that like maybe you would change with a config rather than actually being a constant anyways. You know? Like this is horrible. This is horrible code. I would never recommend that anyone do this. To anyone, ever. Honestly, even just... Okay, even if you're just having like a public static float, right? Which is like drill movement speed. This isn't a constant. That's the problem. And you still have the problem of you can't hot swap this. There's no way to hot swap it. Like, I cannot change this to 0.5 or whatever and hot swap that. I'm pretty sure you can't. You make it a dependency? What do you mean? Anyways, the point is, I'm not doing that. At least for now. I'm not writing a whole hot swappable system. But yeah, anyways, this is we're getting off track here, guys. Okay, we're getting off track. If we want to discuss this, my Discord is linked in the description down below, and we can discuss it after the stream. Okay. Because yeah. What's the name of the plugin? The name is a single hot swap. Literally just it'll be the only one that comes up. I'll show you again. So single hot swap, and it will be the I mistyped. Oh my god, it's the only one that comes up. That's this one. It doesn't have many downloads actually. I'm shockingly surprised at how few downloads this has because this is so useful. I use this for everything. I use it. I don't even use it for like I used it for non-modding thing. I've used it for like Railroad. I've used it for Turtybot. It's great. I love it. It's actually crazy that people don't use it more. Why do you need it? Because if you press build, right? If I press build project, look how long this takes. I mean, obviously it fails, so it didn't take as long. But if I single hot swapped that, it would be instant. It's great. I love it. It is by far one of my favorite plugins that has ever existed. Anyways, we need to add the block entity. So block entity, like that. Let's also add root context parameters. What else should we add? Do we need to add the block state? I don't think so. There is no this entity, there's no player, there's none of this, there's none of that. Okay, good. Do we need the state? Wait, I actually don't know if we need the block state or not. I guess I can add it anyways. Loop context parameters dot block state, and then that just adds the state. Actually, does this one need to be optional? This one might need to be optional. I think it's optional. So if I do that, and then I do dot build, root context type. No, we don't build it, do we? Because it just passes in that. Is that correct? Get job stacks. Yes, it does. So then all we need to do is add them to the inventory. So how do we do that? Well, drops.for. Actually, let's do this first. Let's put it into a new array list so we can modify it, because I'm not sure if this makes it immutable or not. Generate loot, a new object array list? What the hell is an object array list? Wait, what actually is an object array list? Oh, interesting. I'm curious, is there a reason to not ever use this then? So it increases the length by 50%. I actually forgot what Java does by default. Does it just increase it by 1? Surely not. Or does it double it? It might double it. But interesting. Anyways, I'm going to create a new array list because I don't trust it. And then what I'm going to do is, for the drop in the drops, we're going to try and add it to the inventory. So we're going to say block entity dot get output inventory, and I need to create that in here. Simple inventory, and we're going to return this dot wrapped inventory storage dot get inventory, and this just does what? So that's done by index. Not really great. It should probably use side, but it can't use the side because. Okay, fine. We'll just do that then. That's not ideal. I'll probably change that in the future. What's wrong with this? Because yes. So let's grab the inventory here then. So let's grab simple inventory. Inventory is equal block entity dot get output inventory, and all we're going to try and do is we're going to add stack. Now what does that actually do? Does that just return a stack? Add stack to this inventory as much as possible. It gets it's possible that this item stack gets inserted into a non-empty slot or spread across several slots if it can combine with other item stacks in this inventory. It returns the leftover part of the stack or item stack.empty if the entire stack fits in inventory. So I'm actually going to turn this in that case to a for I loop. And the reason is because we're going to say, you know what we could do actually? We could just say if, well, no, that doesn't really help, does it? Okay, we need it to be a for I loop anyways, because we're going to modify the list as we loop over it. If we did a for each loop, we'd get a concurrent modification exception. So what we're going to do is we're going to say item stack, and we'll just call this the leftover, is equal in... No, let's first get the stack, actually. Item stack is equal inventory.get stack in index. No, what am I doing? Drops.get at index. And this is the drop. Okay. Leftover is going to be equal to inventory dot add stack, and we're going to add the drop. Okay. If the leftover is empty, then we're going to say drops dot, can I remove? Can you remove over whilst iterating? You probably can, can't you? But that would break something, I think. So what I'll do then is I will just say... Here, what I'll do is I will say, if the drop is empty, then we're going to continue. Okay? If the leftover is empty, then we're just going to say drops.set index. In fact, we can just set index to leftover. In fact, yeah, that'll be fine. And we'll put this in there. We don't even need that as a variable. Because what that will do is, if it returns nothing, how do we actually want to do this? Okay, question. Chat, I need your opinion. Should we make it so if the inventory is full, should it stop drilling? Should it void the stack completely, right? Should it just void the drop completely? Or should it spawn it as an entity? Or like an item entity? What should it do? That's my question to you. Should it stop drilling? Should it void the stack? Or should it drop it as an item? What do you think? I think maybe drop. But the reason I am hesitant to do that is because it does... it will, you know, spawn a bunch of items, which isn't necessarily the best thing in the world, at least for a server point of view. I guess it's a drill. This isn't something that, like... Yeah, I guess this isn't something that will just keep going and going and going. I mean, realistically, this actually isn't ever going to happen, because it's never going to fill up... Oh, no, it might. I guess it could fill up 9 spots. I was thinking it would fill up 9 stacks, but not 9 stacks, it's 9 different items. Would stopping the drill when full affect external inventories? What do you mean? I mean, so the items should be able to be extracted from somewhere, right? Like from the inventory. In terms of stopping it, I mean more like pausing it, right? So it would resume when the inventory's not full again. I kind of think that's probably the best option. You can have it break? I don't know. That's kind of silly. It doesn't really need to break it. Like, hmm. I'm actually not sure. I think it's probably best to just pause it. Although, at the same time, you're not doing this to get the drop, right? You're not going to be drilling to get the items. That's not what this is. It's not a quarry, right? The whole kind of intention of this is that you just mine down to the drill, to the oil pocket, and you're basically using this to place the actual piping, right? So honestly, you're not really even doing it to get the drops, which is why I suggested maybe it just voids. To be honest, this is something I could make configurable, to be fair. It could be a config, right? So maybe by default it voids it, but maybe it's a config setting to make it stop or to make it drop the items, right? It could be 3 options in the config. Maybe. What do you guys think about that? What program do you use for pixel art? I personally use paint.net because that's just what I'm used to. I do have Asprite or Asprite, or I've actually heard people call it some crazy things. I just call it Asprite, but I think it's actually Asprite. Anyways, I do have that installed, and I think it's okay. I'm just personally not used to it, so I don't use it. And paint.net suffices for me. Anyways, I think config is actually the best option here. There is one problem, one very small problem. I have no idea how to add a config in Fabric. Does anyone know what you use for that? I don't suppose anyone knows. Fabric, like presumably there's a mod, like an API for that. I don't know what the standard is though, because I assume there's multiple. It looks like cloth config is maybe kind of the default, just the standard. Read the wiki. Let's have a look at the wiki, shall we? Yeah, I think most people use cloth config. Or at least I've heard of it, so I assume that's what people use because I've heard of it. So version 11 apparently. You know what's interesting? The wiki goes, no, the GitHub goes up to version 16. But yet, if you go to the wiki, it says that for 1.20, you should use version 11. So how does that work? I don't know. Hello, Ilya. Welcome back. I assume you're back. And hello, Starbro. Welcome to the stream. Config. Should we do config then, I guess, guys? What do you think? I don't want to stream for much longer, by the way. Honestly, we could try and do a config in like, I'm hoping that a config will be trivial, like it was in Forge. Yeah, I could do my own. The problem with doing my own is I have to then integrate it with mod menu, right? Which is like That means I have to make my own screen. And I don't particularly want to do... Oh, no, I guess I don't, because it's a server-side. This isn't a client-side config. So you don't have to integrate it, right? Is that right? Honestly, I never adjust the configs in any mod. Whenever I do, I always just edit the file myself. So I actually don't know, like, the extent of what you can do in-game. I'm thinking, you know what? Should I just write it myself? Should I? It's going to be a server-side config. Is cloth config for client or for server? Because I know there are some configs that are client only. Because I think I looked into it once. And there were some that were only for the client, which I thought was kind of stupid. Honestly, it doesn't say. So I don't know. Config links are usually not server-side, or at least they don't sync. Interesting. Okay. I think the plan then is to just make my own config. And maybe I'll make a command for it to like change it in game rather than mod menu, because if it's not client, then I don't think it makes sense to have it in mod menu, right? Yeah, basically game rules. But like it's not a game rule. Yeah, it's not really a game rule. It's more of just, well, it's a config really. It's different, right? Like not all server-side configs are game rules, you know. I don't know if you can hear that, by the way, when I move my mic like that. It squeaks and it's really annoying. Need some WD-40, man. It's very squeaky. I hope you can't hear it. If you can, it's probably really loud. Okay, config. How do we do this then? Wow. Not loud, but a bit. Okay. That's good to know. I'll probably try and put some WD-40. Fine. Because it's, I guess it's always extended out, so I'm the hinges. Get a bit worn out. Anyways, I'm getting completely distracted. We try and do a config. Let's try and do a config. I'm probably not going to be able to finish that this stream because, as I said, I don't want to go for too much longer. But yeah, we can try and do this. So, let's create a something like, I don't really know how I want to do this. Like, how abstract do I want to make this? I kind of want to make it so like I even have like a config registry, but that's probably not necessary and that's probably completely overkill. Maybe what I have, okay, is I have an industrial server config, or even just server config. There's no point prefixing it, right? I just have some values in here, right? So I have like a I don't want to do that. let's say private. God, how do I want to do this? How do I want to do it? I don't know how kind of how abstract I want to make this. I kind of want to make it really abstract. I also don't think that's necessary at all. I'm going to create an enum. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create an enum for what I want. So I'm going to say public enum, and I'm going to call this what should I call it? What actually is it? Let's call it overflow method, maybe. Sure, overflow method. We'll create an option for let's have. Oh, also, does Fabric have I actually don't know if this is a Forge interface or not. What's it called? String serializable or something? String. It's probably a Forge thing. Yeah, I reckon it's probably a Forge thing then. It's like a thing where you just give it a name. Like it's just an interface that you put on an enum and it just adds a name for you. I'm guessing that's a Forge thing then. Okay, I'll create void pause, and what was the other one? Right, what was the other one? Oh my god, I'm having a brain fart. Okay, well, at least whilst I'm trying to think about it, I can do this. That's kind of stupid. I'm just going to do name.toLowercase. Actually, what was the other one? Entity. Yes. Spillage? Yeah, I guess. Sure. It sounds goofy, so I'll call it spillage. Fine. I'm going to create a method. So public string get serialized name. That, which will just return name dot to lowercase locale dot root. Go, so it's not different on stuff. And I will create a private overflow method, which will be the drill overflow. And actually, I'm going to move this enum to the actual drill block entity class because I do that. Move in a class. Move to another class, and I'm going to move it to the drill. Refactor. Where'd it go? Oh. In here? It is. Lovely. So what I will then do, and has that done it in here? It has. Perfect. Nice. String identifiable. That sounds like what I'm looking for. Let's see. Implements string identifiable. An interface usually implemented with enums that allows the object to be serialized by codecs. An instance is identified using a string. Make an enum serializable with codecs, implement this on the enum class, implement add string method to return a unique ID, and add a static final field that holds the codec for the enum. A codec for an enum is such a dumb thing. But, okay. It seems overkill, does it not? Like, keyable? What the hell is this? This is overkill. Is it not? I don't remember it being this much in Forge. It must have been, I guess, but oops. Well, I was just going to pass in the name and then and then make the name to uppercase. But okay. Well, okay, let's try this. Let's just see what we have to actually do here. So if I just say name dot to lowercase locale dot root, right? As simple as that. And then I say, so we have to make a codec. This seems so stupid, right? What kind of codec does it need to be? Is it a specific, like is it an enum codec? But that's deprecated. Why is that deprecated? Make an enum serializable with codecs. Implement this on the enum class. Implement as string to return a unique ID, and add a static final field that holds the codec for the enum. Create codec. Why? I don't understand why. Let's go to implementations. I just want to have a look. Sure. String identifiable. It does have a codec. Why? Where is this used? In game option. Interesting. It just seems overkill though. Like, if it's just the name to lowercase, why? Why do I need... I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. I don't care. I'm not doing it. Simple. Simple as that. It is overkill. I will though create a method to actually get or default. So I'll say like a public static get by name, string name, or a string. I'll call this the string serialized name. I don't want to make the method name super long. Oops, I forgot a return type. I'm an idiot. Lovely. And what I will do is I will go values, or no, you know what? I'll just try catch it. Try return overflow method dot value of serialized name dot to uppercase. I'll do that, and then I'll catch on what's the exception? Illegal argument, I assume. Illegal argument? Yes, it is. And then I will just return. What should the default be? I'm just going to make the default void. I think that's reasonable. And then all I need to do in here, I'm going to set the default. So I'm going to say overflow method dot void. And then I'm going to create a public void. Or no, should it just be a public JSON object? Serialize. And then a public static server config, or should it actually change the values? I guess like this, right? Public void deserialize from a JSON object. Like that. Okay, and then basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say var JSON is equal a new JSON object. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to say JSON dot add drill. I don't want to do this. Sure, I'll do it like this, which I know some people hate. But for some reason I have a habit of doing that. And I'm just going to say this.drill overflow method dot get serialized name. And that's add property. And then return JSON. I'm not going to overcomplicate it, to be honest. If JSON dot has drill overflow method, then I'm going to grab it. So JSON element. Is there a has of type? No. There is. That would be nice. What I'm trying to make right now is basically the overflow method for when it drills. So it drills down, right? So it'll drill down, it'll break the blocks, and it'll get the drops, and it'll put it in the inventory. So what I'm doing is, if that inventory is full, I'm adding a config option for basically what it should do. So should it void the items, should it pause drilling, or should it spillage? That's the idea. Question. Should I just not care about what type it is? or not? Can I do JSON.get or is there a get or default? Get or get. See, I can do like this, right? I can say drill overflow. I should probably create my own like get or default method. JSON element, which is this is the actual element. Now what I can say is if element is a primitive and element dot get as primitive dot is a string, which seems really jank. I'm not really a fan of that. Which this means I can just get it as a string, right? So string method is equal element dot get as string. What does this do if it's not a string? If this element is type JSON array, but it contains more than an element. So if it's not a JSON primitive or a JSON array. Or should it, if it's an invalid type, should it crash though? I don't know. I don't know. Do I want to make it crash if someone puts it invalid? Or should it just reset it back to the default? I guess that's the decision I have to make here. But for now, I'm just going to say this drill overflow method is equal overflow method dot get by name method. And that's it, honestly. So then all I have to be able to do is say public static server config. And I have to be able to get the config from a server world. So how do I want to do this? Well, I can say world.get the file. What's it called? Directory? Oh, oops. How do you get the is there a manager? I completely forgot. I haven't done this in ages. Honestly. Does anyone know how you get the game path? Is it just Half something? I actually have no idea. I sure there was a method, because I know I did this in oh, do I have to get the server? I probably have to get the server, don't I? Path? Get path? Why don't you make the block configurable? That's a good point. That is, you know, that would have been a lot easier if I did that, to be fair. Yeah. Well, okay, I'm still going to continue with this system. Just so that I have it, because this is going to be useful. This is going to be useful regardless for other things, right? Even if not for this. But I am going to continue with this. This isn't a waste of time. But yes, I agree. That is a good point. We probably should just have it configurable in the actual block, like in the screen. I don't know how I didn't think of that, and I don't know how you guys didn't think of that either. But yeah, I mean, this isn't for nothing though. This is still useful because there are things that are going to need to be configurable. But honestly, I'm not mad because this is fine. I'm still going to continue writing this and get it. I'm going to test it to see if I can actually get it working with this, and then I will figure it out. What is this? Why do I have to pass in a path to get the path? What does this mean? What does this mean? Relative path from the run directory. There isn't a config directory by default, right? I'm curious though. I guess I should just make config, get path config, which would give me config path. Now, what I should probably do is create some kind of cache so it doesn't have to read the file every single time. As for how, I don't know. So this is from the run directory, right? Somehow I've completely forgotten how Minecraft worlds are formatted. That's not really helpful because I need the save path, right? If I want it to be configurable per world, do I want it to be configurable per world though? Or just... The problem with it being configurable... No, I guess that's fine. It should be configurable per world, shouldn't it? So what I actually want is the save. Get save path, which needs to pass in a world save path. Can I get the save path from here? No. Get... Okay, so I need the server, and then I need to do get save path. Oh, get run directory. Apparently that exists. I don't know how I didn't see that. Path. Okay, I'm just going to check there's nothing else here. File. No. World. Okay. What is a world save path? Oh. Interesting. So I just use the root, I guess, and then I traverse it myself from there. Either that or I create my own world save. But why does this even exist? I'm sorry, but why is this just not a string? What? Why aren't these strings? No, this is actually stupid. Why are these just not strings? All it is a string. Anyways. Sure. I'm stupid. Make it a string, bruh. Okay, we'll get the root. And then we'll just say resolve config. I kind of want to create some kind of thing for that, but shall we? The problem is that means I have to make the constructor public. Sure. We're doing that. Because I can't pass in a string, bro. Oh, also, I need to find out if these client access transformers need to actually be in the client. If they need to be in the client source set or not. I actually don't know. They seem to be working in the main source set, but I feel like that's wrong. But I need to find out if that's fine or not at some point. So if anyone knows, by the way, that would be great to know. So what I will do is I will just create a private static final. I'll call it a world save path, and this is just going to be the config path, which is equal to a new world save path, and that's just going to be config string. So this needs to be a slash, I guess so. Config slash industria.modid. Yeah, I like that, sure. So then what I can just do is I get save path, config path, which is kind of useful. It still could just be a string, but sure, Mojang, we'll stick with that. I'm wondering, does it need to be... Maybe this could just be a file. What should the file extension be? Just a JSON, I guess? Sure. We'll make it a JSON. That's fine. Which should be the path to the JSON. Now, what I will do is I will do files.create directories, and I'll pass in the config path. Right. This is a good point. I will try catch this. And exception, and I don't really know what to do. I guess I will throw another exception. Or I will just maybe... You do severe? No. Okay, we'll just do error. Or there's not a fatal, is there? Okay, fine. And I would just say failed to read config file, and I'll pass in exception. Nice. And I guess I'll just return null. I kind of hate returning null, but it's not the end of the world. I don't want to make it an optional, because optionals are annoying. At least it would be for something like this, which I'm going to be accessing a lot. So it creates the directories, and then I'll say if files.not exist, the config path, then I will just create it. So I'll create a JSON object, and I'll say JSON is equal a new. I'll actually create it first. So I'll create a server config. Config is equal to a new server config. And I will say that the JSON is just config.serialize. And then I'll just say files.write string at the config path to be. Does Minecraft have a JSON instance or not? JSON. Do they? JSON helper dot JSON dot to string to sorted string. What does that do? String writer. What the hell? No, I just want a JSON, bruh. Do they really not have a JSON? Fine, I'll make one myself. Bloody hell, man. I will. What do I normally do for this? I normally do something on this. I will do pretty print. That's it. And I think also disable HTML escaping, I think, is the one I normally go for. I don't remember why, but I think I normally do that. So I'm going to do that. What's going wrong here? Set drilling. False. And handler get blocking state to set retracting true. Okay. Fix that whilst I'm there, I guess. This is stupid, so get rid of that, and then we do industria.json dot toString to JSON, isn't it? JSON, and then I'm just going to return the config because that's a brand new config. Nothing has been set, and then else I'm just going to say how do we want to do this? Well, we want to create, well, either way, I guess we actually want to create a new server config. At least for now, because I'm not storing it in any kind of map. So what I want to do is, if it does exist, I'm first going to read it as a string. So string JSON string is equal files.read string at the config path. And then I will try and read that as a JSON. So I'll just say JSON object JSON is equal industria.json dot from JSON. I'm going to pass in the JSON string, and then we're just going to pass in JSON object.class. And then I'm just going to return, or I will do config dot deserialize first of all, and then I will return the config. Okay, and I'm just going to quickly add a to-do here to say that this should hash the config, which I will do at some point. Shall we quickly test this? So we're not going to be able to actually test. It's kind of annoying because we're not going to really be able to test anything that we've actually done this stream. Not really anyways. Which is very annoying, actually. well. So we're going to grab the server config. This is definitely why this needs to be cached if I were to do this. Because yikes, this is going to kill performance. But we'll say server config.get config and we'll pass in the server world to the world. And then we'll say sout config dot probably should have a getter for this. I'm kind of tempted to include Lombok. Or shall I just make it public? Let's just make it public. I'm lazy. And it's fine. Yeah, that's fine. We can make it public. Draw overflow method. Oh, true. If config is equal null, or we'll say if config is not null. Okay, should we try this? So basically all I want to see is what it will actually do. I have also got to mention that I haven't added the slots in the menu either. So let's go in the screen handler real quick, because this should be true. And I'm just going to grab the, this, by the way, is the drill head inventory. And what I'm going to create is a simple inventory, which will be the output inventory, which is equal block entity.get output inventory. Then we're going to check the size of the output inventory to be 9. Then we're going to call output inventory dot on open to the player inv dot player. And then we're going to add the block entity inventory here. So this I'm going to rename to be the drill head inventory. And then I'm going to add another inventory, which is the, oh, I don't have Copilot. This is the output inventory. Did I re-enable Copilot? It might speed up some things. But I just want to do a 3x3. Yep. Sure, we'll try that. It's probably not going to be where I want it to be, but I don't really care. I just kind of want to get this at least somewhat working, so that we can test it. Quick move. This is not going to work, and I don't think it actually works anyways. So, rewrite this. I always seem to have problems with quick move, and to be honest, so do a lot of mods. I don't know why. It shouldn't be that hard. I need to look into quick move more, figure out how the hell you use it, because I think I always use it wrong, and I think it shouldn't be that hard. So what do we need to do? We're calling the thing in here, right? Yes, we're calling update drill, calling update retracting there, and then we're getting the drops in here. So this should still add the drops to the inventory. One thing I do need to do is I need to add, oh no I don't, because that's using the wrapped inventory, so that's fine. Same there, that's fine. I don't need to do that. I think that's everything. Yeah, this is true. I probably should do some better checking here. I might actually pass the world and the pos directly into this update drill method, but I'm not going to do that right now because we want to test it, right? So let's go ahead and run the game. Let's see what happens. Do you guys think this will work? That is the question right now. Do you guys think it will work? I'm actually not sure if this will work. I don't have a huge amount of confidence, to be honest. Maybe? But, there's only one way to find out. I'm gonna add coding in-game. Okay. On a scale of 1 through 10, how much do you think I'll cry? I think you'll cry. Gotta be a solid 15. I don't think that will be easy. To say the least. Yeah, I guess it depends, like, what language, right? Like, are you making your own language? Or are you embedding something like Lua? Or are you doing, like, code blocks, like Scratch? That's the big question, I guess. So, okay, first of all, I want to see if the file was created. It's not going to be created, is it? It should probably be created when the world is loaded, shouldn't it? Okay, once again, I'm not too worried about that. I just want to know if it actually works or not. And also, I realize I couldn't have it on this monitor because I have preview. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab another drill. I'm going to grab a drill head. Okay, we're going to place it down. We're going to put the head in. Hopefully these buttons work now. It does. Oh, it crashed. It needs the tool? Why? Wait. Oh, right. Of course it needs the tool. Oh. The thing that went wrong is the thing that I didn't think would go wrong. Ah. Okay. So, tool. Item stack.empty. No. I'm going to do items.diamond pickaxe. I guess. I'm actually not really sure what I should use for that, because I kind of want it to be able to break anything and get any drops. But sure, we'll try this. That won't have actually done anything, right? I don't know which world file it is. Is it one? Yeah, I don't think that will have done anything. Let me just reload from disk and we can double check. Because where it crashed, I don't think it will have got to that code yet, will it? No, because the code is down there. Yeah, I wanted to actually make a mod once where you could kind of code your own machines in the game, and I was going to use like code blocks for that. But I gave up because I realized I would actually have to create some UI to be able to do that. We're getting a lot of errors. Holy Jesus. What is wrong? Files.read string config path. Oh. Because... Wait, what? Why? So, what's the path? New World 1 config, but New World 1, which is this one, config, which has been created. Oh. That would be why. You know, I'm not the smartest sometimes. That would definitely cause that issue. Yes. Let's try that. Okay. We're going to completely ignore that ever happened. And we're going to try it again. And I'm pretty sure it'll work this time. Let's have a look. Okay. We're gonna go to the same world, it doesn't really matter. And let's see what happens. And it's saying void, which is correct. Now, let's see what it writes to the file. That's correct. So, here's what I want to do. I want to actually change it while it's running. Now, because it's reading it every tick, hypothetically, that means that I can actually change it whilst it's running. So I'm just going to change it to something random, right? Something that should fail. And see what it does, I guess. In fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it a malformed JSON. Now, what it should do, if it's a malformed JSON, is... That's not ideal. If it's malformed, what should it do if it's malformed? I guess it should just... recreate it as like an empty file, or I guess maybe it could back up the file just in case. Yeah, that's probably a good idea actually. Like if it renamed the file to like a .back and then it creates a brand new one, that could work. I don't really want to malform it then. What I want to do is I want to change it to be something else. So let's just say false, right? And I'm going to go ahead and reload this from... Or do I need to do that? I don't know. I'm going to build it. See what happens. Okay, that probably won't have changed anything then. I'm going to close that. Let's see what happens. So, anything happen at all? Maybe it can't reload. Interesting. But it should have updated the file, no? Oh, no. No, it won't have. Because what it does is it just uses what it was before. So, it would just be void. Yeah, that makes sense. So, okay. Let's try change it to something that's not void. Let's try change it to... what was the other one? Drop, right? Was it drop? Or is Copilot just gaslighting me? Copilot's probably gaslighting me. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Yep, Copilot's gaslighting me. Of course it is. Thank you. Okay. Let's do that. I don't know if I have to reload it or what. See what it does now. So that's probably coming back up right now, which is, I assume, why it's not printing anything. Yes. Okay, let's send it back down. Is it going to print anything? It's not going to print anything. Okay. Try again. Put it in. And it's paused. So this is actually working. It is actually reading the JSON file, which is great. Now, as we said, this is something we're actually going to have configurable in the screen. So you could say this was a waste of time. And to an extent it was, but this will also be useful in the future. And yeah, we're going to need to cache this because this is basically going to be reading the JSON file every single tick, which is insane. There's no reason to ever do that. But anyways, I think that's going to be about it for this stream. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I might stream again tomorrow, maybe. And hopefully we can do something, I guess, a little more substantial rather than just rewrite code I already wrote. But yeah, I think that's it for this one. We've been going for how long? Almost 3 hours, which, yeah. And yeah, I can see you guys are arguing about code blocks. Which, if you want to argue about them, join the Discord. Link in the description down below. Yeah. I'll try and stream tomorrow. I should be able to stream tomorrow. I'll stream tomorrow. I promise. I'm gonna make a promise that I will stream tomorrow. So that means I have to do it. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and we're gonna try and do something a little more substantial. I'll probably see if I can kind of get this working in between now and then. No, I'm making a promise. Unless something goes catastrophically wrong, or I'm ill or something, right? Unless that, I promise I will stream tomorrow. Okay? Because I kind of need to stream more. I probably will stream more often now. I hope. That is the plan. When I'm not busy with uni stuff, I will stream more. But yeah, I will see you tomorrow. And we'll do some more. So goodbye.